My next guest is one of the biggest rock and roll stars this country has ever produced. I love him because he's smart, he's funny, and he's not afraid to speak his mind. He'll be performing with his band, the High Flying Birds, later on in the show. It's Noel Gallagher. Great to have you back. Let's go to you, Noel, first. Did you find lockdown easy, or was it hard to get through?
It was, I guess, it was tolerable for the first 3 months, and then it was just brutal. Hated it. Hated every single second of it.
What did you hate most?
Being with your family.
Well, if you don't mind, David, you'll get your turn. Just the way that it affected our lives, the homeschooling and the kids being off school and all that.
Did you find it useful in any ways, though? Because most people I know who work in, like, you know, creative businesses, they found that the opportunity to have more time at home meant they could finish work. They could do things that maybe they put...
Creatively, it was brilliant. I'd finished off more songs than I would normally do. But once you kind of done that, just seeing society come to a complete and utter standstill and there be no light at the end of the tunnel until now, just nowhere to go, nothing to do.
No, how many kids you got? 3 kids you got at home with you?
That's right, 3
kids. OK, so you were homeschooling them as well, were you?
No, I was just watching them do it. no, as I said to I've been to school. I've done my bit.
Yeah.
Now it's down to you. But it's just... the whole thing, it's just... I don't know why the schools didn't just go, look, school's out, we'll see you in a bit.
Yeah.
You know, and they're not really learning anything. They're bored out of their minds in their pyjamas eating toast at 3 in the afternoon.
Do your kids like your music? Do they like what you've created?
They're not really... There was an initial burst of, oh, wow. Now they're not interested.
Yeah.
When was that initial burst? Like...
The initial burst was, you know, they see you on TV and they're like, no way, Dad's on telly, and now they're just like, whatever. You know,
oh, so it wasn't they liked you in Oasis, but they don't like your solo stuff?
No. No, that's virtually everybody else. No, they're kind of like, they enjoy the fruits of it.
I'm a huge fan, you know that. You've
Yes,
written some amazing music. You must be a fan as well, I'm sure.
Oh my God, we were Oasis obsessed when we were growing up. I mean, obviously the Irish connection as well. We were just like massive Oasis fans growing up. I will say though, I wish you'd made just a couple of the chords a bit more complicated. Because I do feel like you've ruined house parties for a solid 30 years, for like a couple of generations. You're like having a good time, and somebody, guys, I've actually got a guitar, please don't do it, please don't do it. I actually know one, or do you know Wonderwall? No! Stop. Wait, no, I can get this. Yeah, no, I can get, no, 1 second. No, I can't get it. No, I'll just do Oh Sally. No, 1 second. Yeah, I can get
That's actually like me writing a song. That's not...
Yeah.
Oh, is there?
Do you ever get sick of hearing your old music?
It's so timeless. Your music.
Yesterday I was watching, we're doing a documentary about Nebworth.
Yeah, the big gig.
And I went to do, to sit on some of it yesterday, and it's actually quite emotional watching it. Because, you know, there's that amount of people pre-internet with no phones, nothing.
Yeah.
Just the fans in the moment with the band. And I remember coming off stage and one of the promoters saying to me, oh, we can do this next year and we'll do like 5 nights because it'll be easier to sell tickets next time because of the internet. And I was like, the internet? What's that? This is 96. I'm like, what's that? Explain to me what the internet was, and I was like, that's never going to catch on.
Email, see you later.
Fast forward 25 years, and that little phone now just rules the world.
But you played it was like 250,000 people over 2 nights, wasn't it? Yeah. That's amazing.
And I was listening back to the performance yesterday. I've got to say, I can see what all the fuss was about now. Honestly, well, because you're so close to it, I cannot perceive it like other people perceive it. I cannot. But yesterday, listening to it, Liam was at his absolute peak, and the band was, and we were at the zenith of what it was, and I was like watching it, thinking, we were amazing. We really were.
Yeah.
We really were.
I am a huge fan of Noel. I saw you very early on in a gig you did in a nightclub in Shepherd's Bush that I was taken to, and I remember going to see you in Earl's Court. And I think it's hard to underestimate quite how culturally huge the band was and the songs were and how sort of important it was. Because I think now culture seems a bit more split and it's quite hard for someone to sort of dominate in quite that way.
Well, it's probably it's partly the internet, like you said, because everything's fragmented.
Well, the record labels as well. The record labels, they will trot out this thing about they're desperately looking for the real deal. They need the real deal. As soon as the real deal comes along, is what they'll do is, if we were to come along now, right, with our band, the record companies would split me and Liam from the band and say, the ball fella, we don't need him. Right, we don't need the other three, it's you two, and they would build it round that. And because of the way that the music business is, you'd be grateful for that. But back when we started, the record companies used to work for us. And now, the artist works for the record company. And that's been flipped on its head.
So, Noel, I need to ask you this. In around, I say, 97, 98, there was a rumour that a limousine with Oasis in it went around my town to maybe see like the aunt or the granny of maybe your drummer, and it was Kildare town.
I know.
Did it happen?
I tell you what happened.
Oh my God, I think
we were doing some enormous gig in Ireland.
Yeah.
And all our relatives are split up all over the country.
Yeah.
And we managed to get them all in the same place, which was some hotel out in the country in Kildare.
I knew it!
All of us descended on that place for the weekend, and I remember walking into one of the pubs on just like a Sunday afternoon, and there was me, Liam, and there's like 12 of us.
Yeah.
And the guy was within, and this was before the internet, within 3 minutes, everybody in the town was there, everyone. And yeah, well, you're right, we were there.
Because I live out in the countryside, so by the time the news reached me, and I'd beg my mother to drive... Yeah, you'd gone, and I'd beg my mother to drive me into the town, because the news was that the Oasis were driving around Kildare town in limousines, and I never got to be close to you.
Well, here we are.
And here we are now. So everyone who said I wouldn't do it, I'm here now. No, will you marry me? I've been a super fan for ages. I've worked really hard all these years to get onto this chair just for this moment.
Let's see you backstage in a minute.
Noel's on the show, not just because we want him on the show, but Noel has I guess, is it fair? It's a greatest hits album. It's a High Flying Birds.
Well, this in the lockdown, we were scrabbling around for things to do to relieve the boredom, and it's 10 years since I went solo, and I thought, well, let's do a best of for the first 10 years.
10 years is a good period of time as well.
Yeah, 10 years is a significant thing, you know. So I never thought it'd get this far, but yeah, it's good to do, and it's good to look back on it now.
Let me ask you about performing now, because obviously when Oasis split and you started the new band, and there was a period where people think, okay, is our High Flying Birds going to be around? Is it going to be as good? And obviously it's a different venture. But I was curious, and I still am, as to whether when you write a song, presumably with Oasis, you were writing knowing Liam was going to sing it, and writing with his sort of vocals in mind. Do you ever still write, are the songs that you write now, do you ever think about him singing them? Are there songs that you have written for you now that you would like to have heard him sing?
Yeah. I guess there's a couple that when I did my first solo record, half of that had already been written, which is going to be the next Oasis record. So yeah, a couple of them, yeah, for sure. But and I only say this with the benefit of hindsight. Like, looking back on that, when I was writing back for Oasis, it was quite restrictive, because the band became a brand, and it became this thing that was owned by the people, and you had a duty to make a certain kind of music, and it was quite restrictive. Now, I can just do whatever I want and live and die by the quality of the songs, and so be it.
When Liam was on the show, he claimed that you had been offered 100 million to perform together again as Oasis.
Yeah.
Which sounds extraordinary.
Yeah.
I don't think it's necessarily untrue, but is that true?
Why do you say it's not necessarily untrue? Because it is untrue.
Well, I'm saying it's not necessarily, because I can understand that someone could make enough money.
There isn't £100 million in the music business, right? Between all of us, right? So the fact that any one band, or me, but I wouldn't... If anybody wants to offer me £100 million now, I'll say it now, I'll do it. I'll do it for 100 million. Right? It's a ludicrous. What is funny, though, is that I think Liam actually believes it, which is the funny thing.
But Liam, I've known him a little bit better now. I wouldn't say I know either of you terribly well, but I think I know you slightly better than I know him. But I thought he was this sort of wild character, and he's definitely mellowed. He has definitely changed, and you must have seen that.
Well, he's nearly 50, isn't he?
Yeah, exactly. So he's getting older, and I wonder, therefore, if there is, even if just for the sake, would you not want to perform again? Because you must miss him on stage sometimes.
Not particularly, no. I don't, because it's a different band.
But I mean, all right, but put High Flying Birds to one side and say they're still there. You'll still be doing High Flying Birds, of course you will. But would you not want to be with him on stage again?
Well, as I was saying to the guy in the Oasis documentary yesterday, I find it a bit sad that there's a whole generation of kids, working class kids, who have got nothing of their own, to buy into, and they're projecting all that onto a couple of 50-year-old fellas. Where's the new Oasis? Where's that? Where is that? Where are those guys?
Maybe it's not in rock and roll. Maybe it's in like the grime scene now. If you look at artists like Heady One and Dutch Belly and all those guys.
But listen, the thing about bands is they're hard work. They are hard work. It's hard work. To do what we did is hard work. You know, band with 5 other geezers, you might not like 2 of them, you definitely won't like 2 of their wives, all that kind of thing. It's graft. You've got to graft it out, and it takes years. And now it's easy to buy a laptop and make it in your bedroom. Yeah. That's easy, and people do tend to take the easy
But Noel,
option.
I'm asking you as a person. I'm not asking you about what you think about a generation, an audience might want. I'm just asking you as a person.
I know, but I'm trying to deflect that question.
Well, this is why I'm persisting. What do you not miss being on stage with him? Because I tell you why I'm curious. Because I believe in the last documentary that was made about you guys,
Supersonic.
I think your mum talked in that. And she says, I wish they could just sort it out. I wish they could just get on. I wish it, and she says, I wish it hadn't ended the way it had.
We all do. We all do. But the fact of the matter is, it did, and everybody's moved on. And on that subject, I talk to my mum every other day, and she's never mentioned it to me once. Once.
She went behind your back in a documentary.
That's right, she did.
So what you do on your own is amazing, and what he does on his own is great as well. But together there is something extraordinary.
Yeah, but it was all wrapped up in youth and camaraderie and all that. And once that is gone, you cannot put that genie back in the bottle. And it would just be showbiz, and it would just be for a mere paltry £100 million, frankly.
You know what? I promise you
down.
now, then, that is the last time I'll ask you about it.
OK, thank you very much.
Well, thank you for bearing with me on that. Noel's going to perform for us at the end of the show, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to have a chat with everyone after this break, so please don't go away. Noel, what was the first performance you can remember?
I do remember being a tree in a play at school, a role which I made my own.
Yeah.
What type of tree were you, Lord?
You were very wooden, I hear.
Yeah. It was a polystyrene tree which I painted.
Well, Noel, I mean, Ashley was kind enough to give us a little bit of Hey Big Spender in Irish. Could we have a little bit of the tree?
We'd love to see your tree.
Oh, I want to see the tree.
Oh my God.
Pretty amazing.
Worthy,
For a minute, I thought Noel had left the room and we had an actual tree here. Okay. It's you and Sharon Horgan working together. You've known each other for quite a while, I think, haven't you?
Yeah, we are really like sisters in real life. So the aim has been to kind of, there we are. Oh, look at us there. No.
It's amazing. As sisters, you so do look alike.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, it was almost, I thought I was looking at twins almost at stage.
Yeah, and Sharon's older than me, but we look basically the same age because she looks so fabulous.
Do you get mistaken for her? Does she get mistaken for you?
Yeah, we do get confused for each other a lot.
Have you been mistaken for anyone, Noel?
On a daily basis.
Who?
Liam.
Do you really?
On a daily basis,
Oh,
yeah.
that must be...
There's never a day goes by where someone doesn't shout, "Whoa, Liam!" And,
do you think they're shouting that, or are they saying, why not get back together with Liam?
no, there is that, but there's you know, when actually doing the video for the single, it was one of the first days we'd all been out of the house, right? And we're shooting it in Notting Hill, and a kind of woman drives past in a car, and she stops and comes up, and she says, "Are you a singer?" And I was like, "Yes, I am, sort." She said, "No, wait, were you in Oasis?" And I was like, "Yes, I was." And she said, "You're Liam Gallagher?" And I was like, "No, I'm not." And she went, "Oh." And then a guy said to me one night when I was out at some posh do at the end of a bar, a guy said, "You're a singer?" "Yes, I am." Same thing. "You know Oasis?" And he said, "Liam Gallagher." And I said, "No, the other one." He went, "There's another one?" I was like, "Yes, there is."
Yeah.
And I am he.
Yeah.
So you were asked as an influencer whether you wanted to go to that.
Yeah.
You
But after you can't take any pictures of yourself going, this was great, because I looked disgusting with like a red moustache which didn't shift for about a day and a half. It was so awful. Yeah.
And Noel, as a band, were you asked to endorse much, or were Oasis too kind of prickly to...
No. Remember the game Frustration?
Yes, the click game, yeah.
Well, we used to play that on tour for big money.
Yeah. Hold on, when you say big
What's
money, what do you mean?
frustration? What was that?
Well, it would used to be like 20 quid to get, we'd be like 15 of us, only 4 can play. There'd be 50 quid each, have a pop-off, right, to get into the...
Frustration is where you've got the popping thing with the dice and we go click, click, and the dice throws itself.
It's a game that requires no skill whatsoever.
And you move a little figure around the holes in the inside.
Oh, okay.
And we were filmed playing it once in an Oasis film, and Frustration made an Oasis version of this thing. We're on the cover of the box. They're very rare. You cannot find them anywhere.
So they sold them, though? They actually sold them?
They did, didn't they? They were like 90 quid or something.
Wow. Speaking of inspiration, you must have... I don't know, I mean, I think I know some of the bands inspired you, but you must inspire people in turn. Do you get younger bands come up and saying Oasis or your work?
Yeah. You always think when you made an impact that you're going to change the world overnight. And it wasn't until 10 years after Definitely Maybe came out that the Arctic Monkeys and the Libertines and Kasabian and the Coral and all those came through and cited us as an influence.
Yeah.
So it takes a long, long time. But there are people, that you've inspired that you're just a bit like, oh, really? Oh, God.
Like who?
Usually Americans, I have to say.
American bands. But people quite like it when you slag them off, don't you?
They do, which is annoying, because it's annoying. You get, they're usually like middle-class twerps who come up to you like, it was the greatest day of my life when you called me a and you just say, well, you know why that is? Because you're a
we use that in the trailer for the show this week. All right, look.
I have signed some books for your kids.
Yes, and you can find them on eBay. No, they do. They read them. They love them.
Oh, thank you.
David, it is lovely to have you on the show. Thank you so much for coming back. I appreciate you being here.
It's such a joy.
Bree, how lovely to have you on the show. Thank
Bree.
you so
Thank you
much.
for having me.
Can't wait to see what you do next. Can't wait to see your next collaboration as well with Lady Gaga.
Yes.
And Ashley, we don't know the date yet, but I'm pleased to say your show's back.
Yeah, quite soon.
This way up?
Yes, this way up.
No, you're not gigging. You've got no gigs lined up at the moment.
No. I was going to take a chunk of time out anyway before the lockdown happened. But I've done a thing for TV that's coming out in June, but nothing.
And when's the Nebworth film coming up?
October.
And will that be like cinemas?
Yeah.
Well, if you'd like to head over to perform, Noel's going to perform for us.
Yay!
Noel Gallagher.